Alright, so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Solidworks to show you how the Simulation Express tool can be used to identify stress concentrations in a part and demonstrate how stress concentrations affect the factor of safety and stress in a part. For those unfamiliar, a stress concentration is often called a stress raiser or stress riser, is a location in an object where stress is concentrated. An object is stronger when force is evenly distributed over its area, so a reduction in area, something like a crack, results in a localized increase in stress. So for our example today, what I've created is some arbitrary rod, and we'll see that there's a stress concentration where this sudden change in profile happens. The way I created this rod is I started with a sketch and just revolved the sketch around an axis to create the rod. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start our SolidWorks Simulation Express tool, which I've already started up here, over here on the right. So I'm going to click Next. And I want to constrain this rod on this face right here, so I'm going to click Add Fixture and then select this face and click the check mark. And then the next thing I want to do is add a force. I'm going to add a force on this face. I want to change its direction, and let's say it's a 1,000 pound force. Hit check. And then hit next. The last thing I need to do, select choose material. I'm going to just say this is alloy steel. Hit apply and close. I'm not going to mess with the run portion of this. What you can do with that is change the mesh settings and have a more exact or less exact study depending on your need. But I'm just going to hit run simulation. And so what we're seeing is an exaggerated motion of the rod. I'm going to hit stop animation and continue. And what we'll see is that our factor of safety right now is at 57.7. And if I click show von Mises stress, we're getting 1.56 to the third, e to the third pounds per square inch. So what I want to do is I want to lower my factor of safety and raise my factor of safety and lower this stress. You can see the highest stress is happening right near that stress concentration. So to avoid this, I'm going to go back to the model, and what I've done is I've moved this bar, and you can see where there are two fillets that I didn't add. So the first fillet is just you can see it's a fillet on that first edge, on that inner edge of the part, and then the second fillet is on this edge of the rod. And so together we get a much smoother rod. And in theory, having a more gradual transition of the area will lower the effect of the stress concentration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild the part, and we want to rerun the study. I'm just going to click start over. And so this time we'll add the same fixture we had before. we go. So we're back, and I've got the same fixture, the same force applied to the part, only this time we've added 2 fillets to reduce the stress concentration. And we're going to rerun the simulation, the same mesh, so we're not changing anything. Stop the animation and continue. And what you see here is we have a larger factor of safety of 60 now instead of 57. And if I show the von Mises stress, that stress is indeed lower. So the Solidworks simulation tool verifies what we already knew about stress concentrations. And this tool is obviously useful then in the design for an engineer. In a larger part, I would be able to identify where my greatest stresses are and identify stress concentrations that I might not be aware of.